Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. In this corner, weighing in at 269 grams, standing 22 millimeters in the rear and 18 millimeters in the front, the Hoka Zinal. And in this corner, weighing in at 298 grams, standing 23 millimeters in the rear and 18 millimeters in the front, the Hoka Torrent 2. Let's get ready to rumble! Alright, well the shoe battle is finally here. The Hoka Zinal versus the Hoka Torrent 2. These are all, of course, just my personal thoughts of which shoe I think is better in which category. I've got a couple of categories. I'm going to break it down for you. And we'll just get right to it. But first, let me go ahead and say that Hoka did send both of these shoes to me to test and review. I did not pay for them. I've already done the full reviews on those. You can take a look at that in the shoe review playlist at the end of the video. But they're not influencing this at all. I get to say whatever I want. So, all right, let's get to it. Okay, so like I mentioned, I did already do the full reviews for both of these shoes. You can take a look at that. So I won't go into everything, but I will say, just like the intro mentioned, the Hoka Zinal is a 4mm drop with 22 in the rear, 18 in the front. The Hoka Torrent 2 is a 5mm drop with 23 in the rear, 18 in the front. So same in the front, 1mm difference in the Torrent here for that stack height. Both stack heights are great. I really like that 4 or 5mm range on trail. It does great for me personally. Before we get any further, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and smash that like button. That really does help out a ton. Lets YouTube know you like it, and then they recommend it to other people, which would be fantastic. Okay, so let's talk about fit. Both of the shoes have an overall really good fit, but there is one clear winner in my book. Let's go ahead and start with the Hoka Torrent 2. The Hoka Torrent 2, the upper is pretty comfortable. It's a little bit thicker than the previous generation of the Hoka. It does have some stretch to it, so it does fit the foot well. When I first put this shoe on, I did feel the toe box feel a little snug, like it was rubbing on the pinky toe here just a little bit for me, and then also in the medial arch of the shoe. The lockdown of the shoe has been great. You just really can get it secured nicely with these laces. I haven't had to do the runner's knot yet on these, and I'm able to get that heel nice and secure, no slippage going on in the shoe. So overall, the fit on this shoe has been pretty good. Now, moving on to the Hoka Zinal, this fit has pretty much been fantastic. I would kind of say this is like putting on a glove, where this is like putting on a baseball mitt. No, I don't know, that's probably not a good analogy, but this one here, just the fit has been fantastic for me, right? Just the very first time I put it on, it just felt awesome. And of course, this is totally dependent on foot shape, but the toe box of the Hoka Zinal did feel a little wider to me. The upper is much thinner. It also breathes a lot better, so your foot's gonna stay cooler in it. But it stretches, and it just didn't feel, I didn't feel any rubbing anywhere on this at all, really. So really happy about that. The lockdown in the heel is also great. Have not had to do the runner's knot yet with this one either. The heel lock is just great. No slippage in there either. So overall, if I had to pick which shoe has the best fit and feel for my foot, I'm going to go with the Hoka Zinal. Okay, next up we're going to talk about comfort. Both shoes are comfortable in their own right at specific things. So let's get into that. The Hoka Torrent 2, its midsole is very comfortable. It has a little bit of that propulsion that you want when you want to go a little bit faster. It has an early stage meta rocker, which really helps with that toe off, that push that you want. And you also get a little bit of the ground feel through the shoe, but it's a comfortable shoe. I mean, you can wear this thing for up to, I would say, 50 miles easily. Personally, I've gone 40 miles in the original Torrent. This one, I've only gone 25 so far, with no foot fatigue or issues really in that. I know people that have gone 100 miles in these, and they've been plenty comfortable. Like I said, there is ground feel with the Torrent 2, but you don't really feel any rocks protruding up through the bottom either. So it's a very comfortable shoe. Like I mentioned in talking about fit though, this one is not as breathable as the Zinal. So that plays into comfort as well, because on hot days, your foot's gonna sweat. You want a shoe that breathes well, allows your foot to air out, dry a little bit. And this one just doesn't do it as good as the Zinal in that respect. But that's the Torrent 2. Let's go on to the Hoka Zinal. Okay, the Hoka Zinal, as far as comfort goes, has also been great right out of the box. Put the shoe on, and it's just the midsole, the Pro-Fly midsole is fantastic. It has plenty of cushioning for what I would call like a moderate long distance run. Anything, like I said, I've done 25 miles in these and had really no issues. Maybe just a little bit of fatigue there at the end in my feet. but I could clearly see this shoe doing amazing at a 50K. And then probably up to that 50-mile distance. I do know there are people that have worn these for 100 miles, like just recently in UTMB. I probably would not wear the shoe for 100 miles because I don't think it has the comfort that I would want at that distance, but that's just me personally. I'm not out there running a 15-hour 100-mile race or a 20-hour race for that matter. But it's been great. The comfort is really good for this shoe. With that upper, like I said, it does stretch around the foot. It just provides a really comfortable ride for a long day out in the woods. It breathes well. Your foot's going to stay pretty dry in it. It's just a overall very comfortable shoe. Like I said, they're both comfortable in their own respect, so it really depends on what you're going to do. If you want to go longer, the Torrent 2 is probably going to be a better bet. And if you want something shorter distance, but still have plenty of comfort, the Zinal is going to be great too. So either way, you can't go wrong with one of these. Okay, now let's move on to grip. With these two shoes here, again, this is one of the categories where I think there's a clear winner. First, let's talk about the Hoka Zinal. It does have the Vibram light base outsole, what they call it. So you have these 4mm lugs in the front and the rear with a little bit of the exposed rubberized EVA on the bottom. You know, it's plenty of grip for your dry technical trails. You know, you've got rocks, roots to jump over, things like that. Just plenty of grip and does amazing. Like if you have to run on gravel roads, totally fine. I've not had any issues with rocks poking through it there either, or any real slippage. With the Torrent 2, these have a 5mm multi-directional lug, as you can see here. It's a very sticky compound. It does fantastic on dry trails, wet trails, pretty much any trail. It does really well on rocks as well. I've worn this through some creeks and didn't really have any issues on rocks either. It's just a great outsole with really, really good traction. So in my opinion though, when it comes to grip overall, I'm gonna have to give it to the Torrent 2. The 5mm lugs are a little bit deeper, a little bit more aggressive design on the outsole as well. I just think this one in the wet overall is gonna be far superior to the Zinal. These are much smaller lugs. They're not as aggressive looking in their design. I think the Torrent 2 is going to win that category. Now, another big factor with shoes is the weight. And again, here, this is a clear winner, which you caught in the intro of the video there. The Zinal weighs in, when it's clean, brand new, it weighed in at 269 grams. The Hoka Torrent 2 weighed in at 298 grams. So almost 30 grams difference. Not a lot. They're both pretty light shoes. Like when I first wore the original Torrents, it was my lightest trail shoe that I had, and I love that shoe. I still love it. I love the Torrent 2s as well. It's great. When I put on the Hoka Zinal, I was like, holy cow, this thing is light. I did notice a difference between the shoes. I definitely did. It's only 30 grams, but I could tell it. I definitely do prefer the weight of the Hoka Zinal. So in this category, I got to give a clear win to the Hoka Zinal. Moving on to durability, all of those things play into effect. You know, the fit and that feel of the upper. You know, it depends on the materials they use on them, the lugs, how big they are, how much rubber there is. What kind of durability can we see out of these shoes? Which one do I think might last longer? You know, again, this is one where I think it's not totally clear yet because I haven't had a long-term test in these shoes, but I have a pretty good idea of which shoe I think is going to go longer. And the Hoka Torrent 2, I think is going to be that winner. This one I've got 50 miles in, I've got about 75, 80 in the Zinals right now, and I can already see a little bit of delamination right here at the front of some of this part of the midsole there is coming apart just a little bit right there up at the front of the toes. And the outsole again is just less rubber, more exposed EVA as compared to the Torrent 2. This is just, I think this outsole is going to last longer. I think this upper is probably going to last longer because, like I said, it is thicker. So it has a little bit more protection around the edges here as well. So if you get sticks that jab into the foot, that upper is probably going to last a little bit longer here than it would here. So I think we got to give a win on the durability category to the Hoka Torrent 2. And now let's talk about price. Again, another category with a clear winner. The Hoka Zinal is $160, whereas the Hoka Torrent 2 is $120. I don't think I have to tell you which one is better. The Torrent 2 in the price, $120 is by far $40 less than $160. So. But you're getting two different things, so it depends on what you want in a shoe. Both shoes are fantastic. I think whichever shoe you choose to go with, you'll be happy with. Let me give you some real-world examples. So a couple weeks ago, I raced the Ragnar Trail Appalachians up in West Virginia. Very technical, rocky terrain. I started out my first 3 legs with the Hoka Zinal, and they were fantastic to race in, like just amazing. The trails were muddy in a couple of places, not really on any steep terrain, but just in the flats. But they were a little bit muddy. No issues with the Zinals. Jumping across those rocks, they were just amazing. I mean, just fantastic. Very confidence inspiring. That lightweight of the shoe was just awesome. The comfort all day was no issue. It was great. After the first 3 legs, I then switched over to the Hoka Torrent 2. I was going to wear those for this next 3 legs so I could compare them on the exact same trails I ran these to get a really good idea. I wore these for the next 2 legs, which was I think my red and yellow loops, so the more technical longer loops. And right away from the first moment I got on the trail with the Torrent 2s after wearing the Hoka Zinals for so long, I could tell a huge difference. The Torrents felt so much taller, even though it's only 1 millimeter difference in the rear. Something about the shoe, it just felt taller. I don't know if the lugs being a little bit longer, I don't know if that was the issue, but I was catching my foot on more things. And again, this was later into the race too, so it could also be just fatigue from being up for a long time and running a lot. But I could totally feel a difference in the overall ground feel, the lack thereof in this shoe as compared to the Zinal. Grip was fantastic, amazing. Grip was probably a little better on some of those wet areas, like I mentioned, with the Torrent 2s was probably better. But actually for my 6th and final leg, I swapped back to the Hoka Zinals because I didn't want to wear these. I liked the way these felt so much better. So for me, if I'm racing, I want to go with the Hoka Zinal. This is a fantastic shoe. Like I said, I would probably choose this for up to 50-mile races. If I'm training and I want to log miles in a shoe that's not quite as expensive, I'm going to go with this right here. This is a fantastic training shoe. You can absolutely race in it. I've done a lot of 50Ks in the Hoka Torrent Originals and loved that shoe. But now that I have the Zinals, I'm going to be using this boy over here for sure. So I think they kind of complement each other. Let me just say that. Okay, well that is my opinion. So let me know your opinion down below in the comments if you would. I'm curious if you've tried both the Torrent 2 and the Hoka Zinal. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know if you think I'm totally wrong about the Zinals or the Torrent 2s. Let me know. But like I said, if you want to take a look at the full reviews for both of these shoes, the Hoka Zinal review is going to be on your screen over here, and then a playlist of shoe reviews will be on this side, which will have the Torrent 2s as well as the original Torrents and other shoes in there. You can go take a look at. But thank you for watching. I hope this shoe battle has helped you maybe make a decision on which shoe you want to go for. But thank you for watching. Like I said, if you haven't already, give it a thumbs up. Maybe subscribe to the channel too. That would be cool. But thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one.